Jy is ingeskakel en luister na die program Straight Talk met die United Independent Movement wat aangebied word deur professor Aubrey Burger en die United Independent Movement se president Jacques Tallier. Saam met ons anker Chris Ironis vanaf Port Elizabeth. Saam met verskeie gaste wat van tyd tot tyd deel gewees hier op die program. Ja, hier op Joy Radio. Elke donderdag vanaf 18:30 tot 20:00 uur. En Plain Afrikaans, 6:30 tot en met 8 op 'n donderdag aand. Net hierso, waar daar niks terughou gaan word nie. En waar daar net regheid en opreg gepraat gaan word oor die daaglikse gebeure in Suid-Afrika, dat ieder Afrikaansburger hierdie rond. En goeienaand, dit is donderdag aand, was so pas 6:30 gewees, met ander woorde is tyd vir Straight Talk hoof by UIM. En ouder gewoonte, ek prof Aubrey is hierso, en Chris Ironis is saam met my. Ongelukkig ons president is, kan dit nie vanaand saam met ons maak nie, want hy het vandag daar by die Hooggeregshof van Pretoria, is hy amptelik ingesweer as 'n prokureur vandag. So sy epieskap is verby, en nou gaan hy saam met die groot honde rondhardloop, en saam met hulle blaf. Maar ja, ons het 'n paar interessante gaste ook vanaand hier so saam met ons, en 'n paar interessante dinge, waarmee ons met u gaan deel vanaand. En ek dit, so kom ons begin en ons sê eers, goeienaand, hello Chris, how are you doing away out of PE tonight?
Hallo prof, ek dink ek gaan vanaand probeer 'n bietjie Afrikaans praat, so vergewe my as ek 'n fout begaan. Baie dankie, het is my plesier om hier te wees, en vanaand gaan dit 'n uitdaging ook wees, baie dankie.
Baie dankie Chris daarso, en dan ja, ons eerste gas is daar van die Wes-Kaap af, en hy was al voorheen op die program saam met ons gewees. Dit is ons goeie vriend van daar af, met die naam van Kurt. Nou Kurt, goeienaand en welkom weer terug hier op die program.
Hi, good evening, Prof and Chris and all of our listeners. Huge privilege to be on the show tonight.
Ja, nou ja, Kurt, terwyl ons jou nou in die beurt het, ons wag nog vir ons ander gas om op te kom, maar die gas sal nou by ons aansluit, maar ons wil jou eerste op die warm stoel sit vanaand. Now, listeners, you all know that there's a vacancy in Cape Town, in the council what needs to be repopulated, if I can call it that. Ja, daar moet iemand anders daar ingeplaas word, 'n nuwe pion moet ingesit word. Maar die UIM plaas nie pionne in nie, ons plaas koninginne in, want hulle is meer beweegbaar en hulle is meer gevaarliker as die koning op 'n skaakbord. En en dit is ons voorreg vanaand hier op die Straight Talk saam met die UIM, om die kandidaat, wat as ek het nie mis het nie, en hy sal dit vir ons nou bevestig, op die 28ste van die maand ingesweer word, en wat die warm stoel van oorlede Neil de Beer, die voormalige president van UIM, gaan oorvat, en gaan volsit, en hopelik nog warmer gaan hou vir ons. Nou ja, Kurt, vertel ons bietjie alles hiervan.
Yeah, huge privilege, Prof. It's not easy, the shoes that needs to be filled, but it is important for us that, the work and the vision of the UIM needs to continue. It's important for us that we, still need to be that voice of truth and integrity. And, the words that President Neil always used to say was that we need to continue fighting in the light. So we're going to continue fighting and doing what needs to be done to see that our country becomes great once again.
Absolutely. Now, Kurt, as for new councillor or provincial councillor, in Cape Town. What is your first point or mission, vision, what you want to achieve as the councillor there?
Prof, there's a few things. And the awesome thing is that we've already been busy with it. There's a lot of stuff we have achieved already. But if I can point it out, it would be obviously improving the infrastructure, which we've been really involved in already. We've been helping another organization out in Mitchell's Plain with regards to securing a field or a soccer field where they will actually become the home of the soccer club. I'm not going to mention the names as yet. So we've been very, very involved with regards to that. We've been involved with enhancing public services within the Western Cape already. We've been very involved in promoting economic growth, where I'm sure everyone has seen on our social media page that we've already helped secure hundreds of jobs for the youth already. And then also fostering community engagement, which is really, really important, where I'm sure everybody's also seen on our Facebook page how we've been engaging community residents in the communities and how we've just been striving towards bringing stakeholders together, obviously for the greater goal that is to, see things become really positive again within our communities and within the Western Cape and within the metro of the city of Cape Town as a whole. So we've been very, very, very busy, Prof, and we committed and we, accountable. The accountability is there. We believe that we need to be accountable. We believe in, the stance of integrity. We believe in ethics, where we need to uphold the highest standards of integrity and ethics and, always acting in what's best for our communities. And like I said, the collaboration and partnerships that have already been taking place. So we're going to just continue building upon the foundation that has been laid already, but also something that is very, very dear to my heart, Prof. It is what is currently happening within the Mitchell's Plain area when it comes to poverty-stricken areas. Then also when it comes to policing with regards to safety and security. We all know about this gang violence and the crime that is out of control currently on the Cape Flats, and that is why we've decided that we're going to dedicate and we're going to commit to striving towards bringing the crime down. And, how we're doing that is we have started lots and lots of programs already that we have been doing with the youth and with many on the Cape Flats.
Good. Tell me, my date what I had for 28th of this month, is that the date what you'll be sworn in?
That is correct, Prof.
Okay.
The 28th of this month.
Well, let me tell you one thing. The 28th of this month, when doesn't matter wherever we are, it's going to feel like we're all there in Cape Town with you in the chambers while you've been sworn in. But I know Chris is there sitting there in PE, jumping up and down. I know he's got some questions to ask for you. Chris, please go ahead.
Good. Thank you, Prof. Good. Sê vir my, op die huidige oomblik doen jy baie deur tot deur, is baie aktief in wat is die woord? Is bietjie mengels, baie aktief in jou community. Gaan jy voortgaan met dit? Gaan jy steeds boots on the ground wees? Of gaan jy meer focus op council? Of probeer 'n balans kry tussen die twee? En nie vergeet van die mense wat jou onder het. Alles bly soos dit is en net addisioneel council vat.
Chris, that's an awesome question. Obviously the balance is important, and as many of you know me already, I love being boots on the ground. There's nothing that's going to really keep me away from from being involved when it comes to grassroots and when it comes to being involved on the ground. I've actually spoken to my team this afternoon, and they asked me the exact same question. And I said to them that I love working on the ground. I love being involved. And when it comes to the door-to-doors, when it comes to speaking to residents, when it comes to doing what needs to be done, I'm going to continue doing it. Because I just love being within the community, and I love just building relationships. So I'll be continuing with being boots on the ground, but obviously the balance needs to be there when it comes to council as well.
Baie dankie, Kurt.
Kurt, terwyl... ja, sorry Chris, gaan aan.
Hey, jammer, net 'n laaste vraag. Ons weet wel, by UIM self, jy het 'n fantastiese span. Nou, in die tye wat jy nou nie beskikbaar gaan wees, jy het seker 'n nommer 2, nommer 3 en soveel, dat vir jou kan instaan wat so goed as u is ek reg?
That's correct, Chris. I have a team that is ready and always on standby that needs to do what needs to be done.
Fantastic, baie dankie. Prof?
Ja, nee, ek sien ons het 'n boodskap hier van Telani gekry. Sy sê, "Hello, hi Joy Radio, thank you for the wonderful weekly broadcast and just want to publicly congratulate Kurt for taking over the seat. Best wishes from Strand and Gardens Bay wards." So ja, lyk met die Weskaap roet al klaar agter jou, Chris. Agter jou altans Kurt daarso. So ja, kom ons glo so. Maar Kurt, terwyl ons jou in die stoel het daarso. Vroeër in die week het president Ramaphosa daar op die nasionale vergadering op die NOC's het hy mos nou daar gepraat en toe het hy nou weer daar oor die stad Kaapstad uitgevaar. En onder andere het hy uitgevaar om te sê dat hoe swak die stad Kaapstad in 2011-2022 gevaar het en dies meer in dit. Nou sien ek die burgemeester van Kaapstad, Gordon Lewis, hy het nou 'n bietjie teruggeslaan daarop, daar teen in dit. Nou, ek weet dit is maklik altyd om ou koeie uit die sloot uit te gaan haal. Dit is die maklikste ding om te doen. Wat is jou gevoel en omtrent hierdie hele ding? Want ek meen, jy gaan nou baie nou saam met hierdie mense werk. En ek weet, ek het gehoor 'n volk het vir my gesê dat jy en hierdie burgemeester het al koppe gestamp.
Yeah, not just once, Prof, but actually twice already. And it came down to service delivery as well, where I was actually addressing a matter where the ward councillor was failing the community or one of the communities, and I actually went out with my team and I addressed it. I sent a letter to the mayor himself with regards to the type of service that they were giving or not giving this community, and exactly where the ward councillor was failing. And I was just being honest. I was being straight to the point that our people does need better services. And when we look at the statement that Cupcake Cyril or President Ramaphosa was saying, there's something that he spoke. He mentioned specifically that it was in the years 2011 to 2022, where he was saying that the DA service delivery or the City of Cape Town service delivery was not of the best. But this to me, Prof, this is clearly him trying to create a narrative once again, trying to remind people that there once was a thriving ANC. And the truth is that from 1999, the ANC started to spiral down. In everything that they were involved in everything that they were doing, we actually see how corruption was rising, and we actually see how many of the ANC leaders and certain ANC members started to get more involved in jumping onto the gravy train, which is sad. And this is where we actually finding ourselves in the situation now where things hasn't gotten better, things has gotten worse. And to me, this clearly looks like President Ramaphosa is actually throwing a lifeline to the DA, knowing that when push comes to shove, the favor needs to be returned to him, especially in the time, in the situation that he's finding himself in now. And the truth is that he says that the city of Cape Town, he then says that the city of Cape Town tends to perform well on measures of financial governance. But this is clearly the lifeline that he's throwing. And I know many of you will agree when I say this, that there was a time where the DA actually said that they will never partner with the ANC, they will never join the ANC. But now we find that the DA and the ANC are together as GNU partners. And the truth is that many of the DA, many of the ANC is failing when it comes to service delivery. That is the truth. And another reality or another fact that I would want to mention to our listeners is that a lot of the smaller parties are actually the ones that is focused on service delivery. But in the sub-council meetings, you will actually find how the sub-council chairs is actually giving credit to the DA ward councillors for none of the work which they have done. And I speak of experience, Prof, and to our listeners tonight. We have been focusing on service delivery for some time already. We have the reference numbers, we have the messages, we have the videos, we have the photos. But in one of the sub-council meetings, I actually sat and where the sub-council chair was thanking one of the ward councillors for the work that we have been doing. So that is currently what we are finding that is happening, especially within the Western Cape, and this is not good enough. This is not good enough from the DA, and definitely this is not good enough from the ANC. But the people, they need to see the truth for what it is, and they need to realize that the ANC is failing us, and so is the DA.
Yeah, so at least good if you now on council, as you're going to be now from the 28th. When this, how shall we say, misinformation are being spread and other people are taking the credit, when you can actually then rectify it there in council, am I correct?
That is correct, Prof.
Okay, right. Chris, any other questions regarding the seat in the council for Kurt, what he's going to, what the hot seat he's going to take up?
Look, is 'n big shoot. Prof, hy is groot skoene, jong. En daar's net een Neil de Beer.
Ja.
Ek dink dis 'n baie groot eer dat Kurt spesifiek Neil se seat het. Ek dink dit is fantasties. Daar's baie liefde van Kurt en vir Neil. Dit is public knowledge. En mense gaan hom dophou. Hy moet homself nie steur aan die besigheid van klein partytjies en die DA van die glorie daarvan. Dis 'n ou ding wat hulle doen. Die enigste advies wat ek vir Kurt kan gee is focus, Kurt, in your community, and you'll get the job done. We've got a lot of faith in you, and you're always going to have the ANC saying that there's inequality, there's this, that, and the next thing. But focus on your seat. Focus on growing and building the UIM and keeping our name high. En dis die meeste wat hy moet doen. Hy weet wat hy moet doen. Ek glo wel vas dat hy dit sal maklik handhaaf. Dit gaan harde werk wees, maar hy sal dit handhaaf. Ja, dis my 2 cent op hy on that subject.
Baie dankie, Chris. Kurt, ja, van my kant af, en ek glo van almal in die UIM se kant af, wil ons net vir jou sê, baie geluk met die aanstelling, en ons glo dat jy sal groei van krag tot krag, Dat die tydperk wat jy nou daar gaan wees, en tot en met die volgende munisipale verkiesing, sal jy nou vir die mense van Kaapstad kan wys en omliggende gedeeltes, hoekom hulle vir die UIM moet stem met die volgende munisipale verkiesing, want almal is 'n kurt in die einde van die dag daarso. Maar jy gaan nie weghardloop nie, jy gaan saam met ons bly. Luister, ek het ongelukkig, ek het 'n boodskap hier nou net gekry, ons ander gas wat sou opkom, lyk my nie gaan dit maak nie, die gas sit nog in die verkeer vas. Dit is die VP, die visie-president van die UIM, Fatima Abdul, sy het, lyk my hulle het 'n bietjie laat klaar gemaak daar by hulle, met hulle dinge en dit, so, maar as sy dit kan maak, sal sy saam met ons opkom. Nou, kom ons praat bietjie oor nuusgebeure van hierdie laaste week. En ek wil afskop, en ek wil graag julle opinie hê op hierdie volgende ene. Jy weet, daar was het 'n berig gewees in die nuus wat vra watter partye kry ANC geld. Nou, ons is bewus, ons weet die ANC is bankrot alweer. Ons sal sê nog steeds. Ek meen 'n week gelede het die baljoe daarso by Natuli huis opgedaag, alles opgeskryf en opgelaai en dies meer. Maar nou verstaan ek, daar het 'n hofstuk aan die lig gekom, dat die ANC 'n kontrak van 190 miljoen aan Ezulweni Investments toegeken het, vir die vervaardiging van verkiesingsmateriaal, en dit is nou vir 2026, wat onder meer 30,000 PVC baniere is, en 1 miljoen korreksborde, waarvan op die PVC baniere wat op 15,000 gaan die ANC toe, dit gaan hulle gebruik, die ander 15,000 gaan na strategiese vennote, en ek wil hê julle moet mooi hoor hierdie naam, hulle noem hulle self strategiese vennote, hulle sê nie wie hulle is nie, so strategies is hulle, en dan van die 1 miljoen korreksborde is die helfte, 500,000, wat ook na hierdie, nou sit strategiese alliansies toe gaan, so hulle is vennote en alliansies. En dit het aan die lig gekom dat hierdie ooreenkoms was geteken deur Dr. Gwen Ramagopa, die ANC se tesourier-generaal, en Renesh Ramdas, die uitvoerende hoof van Ezulweni, is dit onderteken. Nou, my vraag is, hoekom is hierdie so hash? Wie is hierdie strategiese vennote, strategiese alliansies, call it what you want to call it? Hoekom is dit so groot geheim? Chris, as ons by jou kan begin, what is your feeling about this?
Prof, ek het so gehoop jy gaan daar gaan. Ek het so gehoop. En soos ek dinge verstaan, is al die ANC se accounts gevries. En hy selfe dame het nou she appealed to the court to unlock their account, because without the data down their accounts, the word she uses, everything is stalling. As hulle rekeninge gevries is, hoe gaan hulle daai 190 miljoen rand uitbetaal? Of gaan hierdie nog, ons gaan 'n investment kry van oorsee af ergens, en daai geld gaan ook net poef verdwyn. This opens a can of worms that we'll be speculating on for quite a while until the truth comes out. Die EU gaan hulle geld gee op hierdie kant, en hulle rekening is gevries op daai kant. Iets is baie snaaks aan die gang hierso, regtig. Iets is baie snaaks aan die gang, prof. Dit is my gevoel hieroor.
Maar dink julle nie dat hierdie partye, hierdie ander partye, of sal dit soos dat hulle nou noem, die alliansies, dat hulle geïdentifiseer moet word, dat hulle bekend moet gemaak word aan die publiek al buite nie? Want as dit nou nie weer dieselfde so wat ons gehad het, wat gesê het voor die 94 verkiesing, ons sal nie saam met die ANC stem nie, ons sal nie saam met hulle sit, ons sal nie saam met hulle werk nie. En aan die einde van die dag, toe al die beloftes wat voor die verkiesing gedoen is, toe sit by die venster uit. En ek dink baie van hierdie alliansiepartye wat hulle so van praat, wat hulle nou so mee help, doen dieselfde, maar hulle vat agteraf, skep hulle by die ANC. My gevoel is, hulle moet publiek openbaar word aan die einde van die dag.
Nee, ek voel heeltemal, ek stem heeltemal saam met die prof. Maar as jy mooi onthou toe the delegation Amerika toe is, en toe sit hulle daar met president Trump, en toe is John Steenhuisen destyds nie aangestel is, he was introduced by President Ramaphosa as, this is my Minister of Agriculture.
Ja, I remember.
So, dit is maar een van die dinge. It came out of the horse's mouth. This is my Minister of Agriculture. So, ek wil nou nie sê dat die DA of enige party geld van die ANC kry of die ANC back hulle of wat ek al, maar dis eintlik snaaks. Al die jare was die DA die official opposition, maar het lyk vir my nou dat hy it is his Minister of Agriculture. So I don't want to connect the dots, but the dots are they're getting very close together and they're all reading in the same direction.
Yeah, well, they're connecting themselves at the end of the day. Now, hopefully somebody is going to scratch and that these parties will be brought to the light. And I believe darkness will always come out in the light. But now I want to talk about something else, what I want to bring up. En Kurt, hier is 'n probleem, nie net in KwaZulu-Natal nie, hier is 'n probleem landwyd en daarso, en dit is 'n groot probleem daar in die Weskaap ook. En dit is hierdie massiewe, en ek kan onthou, oorlede Neil, ek het 'n klip destyds gesien van hom, waar hy gegaan het na die SASSA kantore toe, waar hierdie massiewe lang rye is, waar hierdie ou mense, of sal ek sê die jong mense, want ons is nog jong, ons is nie so oud nie, in hierdie rye, in die hittige son moet staan, daar's geen koelte nie, daar's nie 'n stoel vir hom op te sit nie, daar's net mooi niks nie. En waar hy toe gegaan het, en hy het gaan water koop en alles om vir hierdie mense te gee en dit. En hier het ons hierdie week gekry, dat daar so in KwaZulu-Natal, daar by Verulam, 'n 60-jarige man, het saam met sy vrou in die ry gestaan, hy het gegaan om aansoek te doen vir sy SASSA. En hy het in mekaar gesak op hy teelvloere, of op hy paving het hy neergeval. Die kliniek, die beste van alles, die kliniek is op die perseel, 50 meter van die SASSA kantore af. Maar hulle wil ook nie om gehelp het nie. Die berig sê dat die beweringe is hierso, hulle het geweier om die nodige mediese hulp aan hierdie persoon te gee. Nou, ek meen, hier is twee dinge. Eerste plek, waar is die konstitusiese beskerming vir die ouer mense nou? Wat hulle menswaardigheid nie aangetast moes word nie. Hulle menswaardigheid was hier aangetast. My tweede punt is, die konstitusie sê, almal het die reg op mediese sorg, en met toegang het daartoe. Mediese sorg was daar gewees, toegang was daar gewees, maar hulle het geweier om daar te kom sien, om daar toe te pas. So, ek dink daar's 'n klompie etiese kodes op die mediese front gepleeg, en dan praat ek ook nie eens op die konstitusie nie. Nou, ek wil my verstout om te sê, ek dink dat sulke gevalle al daar in Mitchells Plain en daai plekke, Philippi en daai plekke ook al gebeur, is dit nie?
Ja, prof,